Boker Tov, everyone. Rabbi Eric Solomon, Raleigh, North Carolina. A little more morning Torah. Happy Hanukkah. Hanukkah Sameach. To actually focus on Hanukkah. Famous debate in the Talmud. It's been taught so many times between the two great rabbis, Hillel, who usually wins, and Shammai, who is not chopped liver, but he's usually a very more strict interpreter, strict constructionist of the Torah, of the Jewish law. And he loses in this one. And the debate is, how do you light the Chanukiah? Do you start with one light, and then go up through the, through the nights of Hanukkah, starting with Shamash, of course, and then go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, which is what we do today, which is Hillel's opinion. Or Shammai, which is start with 8, a full Chanukiah, and go down. And the rabbis debate it, and it comes back the answer, Malin b'kodesh ve'ein moridin. You always go up in holiness, rising in holiness, and never go down. And the idea behind that is that you should kind of lift up in mitzvot and in actions. You should lift up and go up in number, not in down. Kind of rising up is the energy of Chanukah. And, it may sound trite, but the beautiful message beneath that is about adding light every night. This holiday of the darkness of the year, the winter, and the solstice. We're actually entering here with Rosh Chodesh and Shabbat. This is the time of the year where the darkness can be great. It's actually not solstice, whatever. I'm using the wrong term. Bottom line is it's a very dark time of year, and we're adding light to it. And we're starting to actually add light starting now, believe it or not, towards the spring, starting in a couple days as well. This is the idea all behind it, kind of adding light every night, adding light to one's life. That message, can sound simple, add a little more light, light one candle. It's like there's many songs about it, poems. It could sound just kind of cutesy, but, I have found, certainly in my life, in my spiritual life and life as a rabbi, to be incredibly profound. Really because, as a rabbi, and I and my wife Jenny and other clergy I'm friends with, we have such a privilege to be clergy. It really is, not every day is perfect, but it really is a blessing and often a miraculous opportunity to see the world with so many amazing opportunities. But one of the issues, or one of the challenges, or one of the blessings of being a clergy person is that we interact with people at times on the best days of their lives. We are there for them, and on their worst days. And on those moments when we are present with people on their best and worst days, especially on their worst days, one of the, one of the bechinot, one of the aspects of that experience is the degree to which a person is able to see their life as one where there was light, that light still can come, that light is still possible. And the way we put that in kind of modern terminology, or in another way, is about hope. Can you, in your worst days, in the worst moments, still be hopeful about life? That doesn't mean we don't suffer. That doesn't mean we don't deny. And it doesn't mean that we're hopeful every second. But that when we look at the experience we're having, whether it's personal suffering of maybe a surgery or a health, or the suffering of people we love, can we look at the world and say, even though my world at this moment is incredibly sad, scary, anxiety-filled, is there hope in it? Can I find a place for hope? Hope is not foolish. Hope is not silly or, a whim. Hope is an attitude at looking at the world with all of its darkness, sadness, scariness, like this time of year, and saying, there is something worth living for. There is something that I can look towards, the potential for more light and more blessing, even if I don't see it right now. That takes tremendous guts. That takes chutzpah, takes a kind of courage. And that's what Hanukkah is about. When you say, I'm going to add one more candle, it doesn't mean that the world is not terrible, that I don't feel like adding another candle. I absolutely can feel like not adding another candle, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to push with a sense of kind of faith that it's possible that more light can come. That is, and I have seen it in people in my community, it is awe-inspiring. It is watching kind of a Torah, a live Torah person in front of me. Give hope. Give me hope. And so I conclude with this famous story that I love and many rabbis quote. It's so profound. Rabbi Leo Beck, alav hashalom, who was a teenager, a young person during the Shoah, during the Holocaust. And he tells the story of Hanukkah in, I believe it's Theresienstadt, with his father. And they were suffering. They had very little food, water, the whole thing of the Shoah. It's horror. And his father traded his basic potato rations for some wicks and candles to celebrate the mitzvah of Chanukah, Lenin Chanukiah, so to speak, in the camps. And the son turned to his father and said, "What are you doing, Dad? You're gonna get us killed. If they find out we're practicing Judaism, lighting candles, the Nazis will kill us. Other prisoners will think we're crazy. We're calling attention. Plus, you gave up your food. You're potentially risking your own life. You're going to suffer." And his father told this line, which Leo Beck passed on to us as a teaching and Torah of hope. He said, the father said to the son, to Leo Beck, who later became a great rabbi of Great Britain, said to him, "We all know, son, you can live 3 weeks without food. You can live 3 days without water. You can't live 3 minutes without hope." And he lit a Chanukiah in the concentration camp. And that is the message of Hanukkah and adding light. It's that even when things are dire, we look at the world as having hope. With that, we can keep our neshama and our souls alive. So I pray for all of us here that we see lots of light naturally, this beautiful morning here in North Carolina where the sun is rising and the light is here. But even if we don't see it now, the message of Hanukkah is to light another candle and add more light, to will ourselves, to pray, to ask God's help, to help us have hope. And that, please God, can help us keep ourselves and the world alive. Hanukkah Sameach, a happy, sweet Hanukkah, hope-filled Hanukkah, and a Shabbat Shalom.